Good afternoon, and thank you for coming along to our session. My name's Oliver Cheal, and I'm the General Manager for Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Russia at Duo Security. And I'm here today to talk to you about democratizing security with Passwordless. First of all, however, I'd like to say how much I'd like to visit the Kingdom again and meet with as many of you as possible to talk through all of these different topics. And I can't wait for the times when the borders are reopened and we're able to meet face to face again. Passwordless is a rare win for both security and for users. And I really want to explore that rare phenomenon because security controls normally put barriers in place or friction in place for users. Passwordless is one of these things that makes our organizations more secure, more resilient, and it simplifies the workflow of the users. It's an absolutely fantastic opportunity for cybersecurity organizations within all of your organizations. Before I go into that, I just want to recap some elements around zero trust. Zero trust for the workforce is built on three principles. It's built on the principle that you need to verify the users in your environment explicitly. It's built upon the foundation that each of those users should only be able to access applications that they need to do their job. And the third point of view is that you must assume a mindset that you're breached already. Assumed breach is a posture, a stance of your teams that should be employed throughout your organization. In order to get to zero trust for the workforce, Duo, which has been called out as the leader by Forrester and many other research houses, has built a five-step approach that is technology agnostic, and that takes you through the mindset for how to get to that position. The first step is to verify your users and to build trust in your user base through strong authentication. The second step is to develop visibility into what your users are doing and what devices they're using. The third step is to develop trust in those devices. So to know that you've got the right posture and operating systems and patching in place on all of those devices that are managed, and the ones that access your resources but are not managed, they all need to be trusted. The fourth element is to build adaptive policies around those users and their devices so that they can access the right applications and the right under the right conditions for your business. And the fifth element is bringing all of that together, integrating that into the way that you manage your applications and finalizing that transformation program. So with that out of the way, I want to move on to Passwordless. So if we talk about the problems with Passwordless, as Gartner say, 20 to 50% of all help desk tickets, which typically cost the organization $30 to $50, are related to passwords. So there's a vast cost associated with having passwords. And users don't like them. They're asked to generate unique passwords, and there are so many. LastPass would say 190 per user, but let's assume it's only 50. That's far too many for people to remember with the complexity and the length that are required. And ultimately, it's an attacker's or an adversary's paradise. In my former role, where we were running red teams, which is where we attack an organization on their behalf to help them improve their defenses, passwords were fantastic for us. We would find weak passwords, we would find them stored in plain text, we would be able to manipulate those passwords to go around and gain control of an organization's digital assets. And we always succeeded. In fact, Verizon say 80% of breaches involve weak or stolen credentials. So we know passwords aren't fit for purpose. Bill Gates said this nearly 20 years ago. So what do we do about it? Well, the appeal and the timing is now. We all have smartphones. I have 2 smartphones and an iPad, and I know in Saudi Arabia, it's one of the highest numbers of smartphone devices per capita. So we've got the smartphones, which is fantastic. And they have biometrics, which are really good quality. The first generation biometrics, you could defeat them using gummy bears or sweets and various other things. Now we can trust them, whether it's touch, whether it's Face ID, they're really strong and they're reliable. And the latest laptops, the latest tablets and phones have a secure enclave, a place dedicated to storing keys securely. So bringing these foundational elements into play means we can finally go about fixing the passwordless problems. And the promise of it all is that we will have more resilient organizations and we will have happier users. And that's a rare position for cybersecurity leaders to be in. But it's not straightforward. It is confusing. Some organizations are saying we should have done passwordless 3 years ago. Some organizations are saying we're not ready. The reality is it is a step-by-step transformation, but the building blocks are in place to start now. And so we recommend a step-by-step approach. And also to be mindful of users. Whenever you change the user experience, you have to think through the impact on them. Fortunately with passwordless, and I speak from experience as we now use it internally, is you are simplifying the user's workflow. And so you're changing the experience, but it's to a better experience. And it is absolutely fantastic to use the technology. So the current situation is we have applications in the cloud, applications on our devices, and applications in that legacy environment. And at the very least, we should have an authentication flow that uses a username, password, and multi-factor strong authentication. But we need them for all 3 of these scenarios. And it ends up with a lot of authentication all over the place. And we need to try and simplify the experience for the end user. So whilst putting passwordless in place for each of these areas, so where you have your username and you have a strong biometric, something that you are, whether it's Face ID or a fingerprint combined, then you simplify the experience for the cloud applications, for the desktop applications, for the legacy applications. But we can go further than that. We can go cross-platform. We can federate the cloud applications, the desktop applications, and the legacy applications, or the on-premise applications, behind the Duo single sign-on gateway. And then we can authenticate with passwordless to the single sign-on platform. And from there, we can broker out to any of those applications as we need to, and reduce the number of authentications for the user each day and simplify their work experience. But when you take away, when you look at authentication traditionally, something that you are, something that you have, and something that you know, if you remove the something that you know, the password, the shared secret, you really have to be very confident in the device that you're using to authenticate. The something that you have is what you really need to focus on. And many organizations cannot trust the devices that they're using. The technology exists, and we need to get confidence and visibility of those devices so that we can build trust in them and we can use them as part of this strong authentication flow, because they're the place where we'll be doing that biometric decision. And once we've done that, it's not enough to just let the user in. We need to continually ascertain the risk of the users interacting with those applications. Is there something strange going on? Is there an anomaly? Do we need to revoke trust until we can build more confidence in what that user is doing? And the telemetry from that doesn't just have to come from the applications and the data that Duo can see, but it can come from the entire Cisco platform of endpoint technologies, cloud technologies, and on-premise technologies to feed the decision, do you trust what's going on based on the behavior? And that's really the future that Cisco is taking with its continuous trusted access journey. And it's really exciting to see the Duo technology across with the come together with the rest of the Cisco platform to really understand what's going on in real time and make trust decisions after you've let the user through, not just at the point at which the user's through, but continue to look at what they're doing and, if needed, revoke trust. And all of this is about increasing security, increasing resilience, and yet making the journey easier for the user. And that is such a rare thing in cybersecurity. So what's next? Well, once the SSO is in place, once the devices are trusted, you can build that passwordless workflow. And then beyond that, you can go into thick clients, how you can bring the authentication of passwordless authentication to those thick clients through the embedded browsers, how you can use it to log onto your device and then go straight through to all of your applications because you've got the workflow behind it sorted out, and then how you can make risk-based authentications in future based on the adaptive policies that you've already set up. And at this point, I would just like to say for the Saudi market that Duo complies for data classified as level 1 and level 2 with the relevant CITC cloud computing framework. So in summary, zero trust. It's all about explicit verification, thinking about the users and designing access around least privilege, and getting into the mindset that you're assuming that you're breached. The 5-step approach of establishing the user trust, building visibility of the user and device, then building trust in the device, building custom policies for your organization based on all of those elements, and then finalizing that zero trust integration as you build the zero trust principles into your application stack. So what's the call to action? What are the next steps? You can start today with federating your applications with SSO. An absolutely critical step and something that all organizations can start to do right now. And then establishing device trust, making sure that you have the capability to see what levels of patching, what levels of software are on all of your devices, and Duo's unique capability to look at personal devices which don't belong to your organization without compromising the privacy of your users. It's a unique capability that Duo has, and we can talk to you about that at the booth. But during this pandemic, organizations have lost visibility of your assets. We need to regain that visibility, especially for all the unmanaged devices. And then once that's in place, Passwordless will be ready to roll out, first for single sign-on, then for device log-on, and thick clients and all the rest of it. And again, it's about simplifying the user's experience and increasing resilience of your organization. So if you have any questions, please come and visit our joint stand with BTC, download white papers on duo.com, or contact your Cisco contact who can put you in touch with the relevant Duo team to help you think through your journey to passwordless. Thank you very much for listening, and I wish you a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you.